TOMz.
What's going on, Mzansi? It's awesome to see you guys tune in for another fresh episode here. TOMz, Konalago SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Brought to you by the SABC Education.
Jalo ka setse letse ba lebitso la ka ke nna Kamo ena ke tsama ke le mong ke tsama le the awesome Kaji and rona mona mo TOMz rata ho le ruta about the latest and the coolest trends tsa science and technology hona mo Africa Borwa.
So guys, have you actually wondered in your day-to-day life, ukuthi, how are some things made? Well, this is the right show because day in and day out we actually discover izinto ukuthi zenziwa kanjani, and we're also going to be paying attention ukuthi abantu bala eMzansi bazenza kanjani izinto.
Well, ka tshokole na re twitter ka the science of wood. Re batla bona hore batho ba mo South Africa bona ba etsa eng ka maplanka to create some amazing stuff.
We're also going to be sharing some DIY for you guys who actually want to learn more about carpentry and woodworking, and of course we're going to be celebrating trees and paying attention to the role that they play in our daily lives.
So for hona jwanong a re tsamaya re bona di highlights tsa ka tsheko. Re ithuta ka some interesting facts ka difate that you didn't know. Discover all the different uses of wood. Tsamaya le rona ha re ya ko a marimba class we ithuta gore maplanka ona a o etsa jwang mmino. And ebile hape o kile wa ipotsa gore katara ba etsa jwang na. Celebrate one of SA's famous wood sculpting artists. Retweet about mankind's first uses of wood. Check out some awesome applications for your mobile devices. Ebe re fumana mantswe a kgothatso from Bachaki Bell Nano la Rakateko. Ra tseba gore maplanka a tswa ko difateng. But ke tse feng di-products tse re kgonang ho di fumana tse tswang moo. Ebilaneng ba ne ba sebedisa maplanka for eng during prehistoric times. Why are trees so important mo maphelong a rona? Re botsitse lona, sir. Let's go find out.
Ngazi ihlahla zakhona boma oak tree ezinye ihlahla ngizicava ifandiwani kodwa ya.
Oh, pinewood. I can only name one. Yo.
Ama products esingawathola. I've heard of ialu nezinye izinto which is I'm not sure kodwa ya.
We can use firewood. That's one of the products. They can degrade into making coal.
Inkuni besebenzisela for ikshayitheze endlini ukwenza izitulo amatafula ama stand sure ya izinto ezinjalo.
Wood might have only been used for firewood. There's so many different ways.
Siyakwazi ukwenza amaphepha. Most of the time uzothola ukuthi senza into useless boma ithezi masibraya or masigodola into ezinjalo so ya.
Menazi ukuthi there are more than 20,000 tree species khona la emhlabeni. Asame sebheka some interesting facts and find out ukuthi why are they so cool. Let's go.
Ananotseba gore one mature tree gives off enough oxygen ka jara engwe le engwe to keep 2 human beings alive. Difate do not only provide us ka moya wa re kgona ho hema, but they also absorb carbon dioxide e kgonang ho reduce the greenhouse effect. It is estimated that 1 acre of trees removes around 2.6 tons of CO2 per year. Difate di kgona prevent flooding in the cities ka ho nka di-raindrops and offsetting runoff caused by buildings and open areas. The roots tsa sefate di kgona ho thusa le hore destabilize and keep soil clean and prevent erosion. More than 5,000 products can be made from difate. Some of these include the fruits, the nuts, the pampiri, maplanka, and cleaners. Difate are also said to have amazing healing powers, with studies showing that hospital patients require less painkillers and heal faster. Hello, ho na le difate tse di bonahalang ka montle ha difestere tsa bona. Ho na le di-product tse di ngata tse re ka di etsang ka maplanka. Empa neng ke feng tsebo o e hlokang hore wena o kgone ho sebetsa ka maplanka? What can be made? How is it created?
Ke na Mr. Nzimane ke specialize ka creative arts. Class ke class ya marimba. Marimba ke seletswa kana an instrument from Zimbabwe. Gagolo e tswa mo setlhareng se se bitswang Akatinda tree. Akatinda tree insa Akatinda drum and talking drums gagolo. Ga se legong le lengwe le letsang marimba ke magong go tsweng ko nageng ya Zimbabwe go latela gore ke yona naga e le gore mo Africa e tumile ka marimba. Music o mongata wa marimba rotsa mo letlhakore la Zimbabwe gagolo.
Igama lami ngobile Shongwe, mina grade 9B. So lana ngizodlala umarimba because umarimba mina it's my life. So ngiyathanda vele ukudlala umarimba. Mina umarimba I started doing marimba grade 7. So ngazala Naledi High, so it's 3 years now. So in Maurice I say school, being nama special like classes, would sing marimba.
Mina igama lami Ngobile Ndlovu ngifunda eNaledi High ngenza grade 9. Into engenza ukuthi ngijoyine marimba ngoba ngithanda music ngoba na marimba yayenza music, yeah, that's why. Ngifila kahle ngicreate music ngoba ngiyathanda futhi ngifuna ukuyenzela abanye abantu music.
Mina vele ngiyakuthanda like ngiyathanda vele ukudlala marimba. Because marimba is like, it's easy, and then ungabamba ama notes futhi ukuthi udlale ngawo. So yeah, ngiyakuthanda. Well, mina mangicala ukudlala marimba vele like angwazi marimba, and then beta, and then do just that. And then no teacher tell me like ngifuna ukuyeka because ngakhona ukudlala marimba. So ngithi ngiyayeka. And then there's this teacher like taught me like ngobile iyenze lento le uzokhona ukuyenza. Igama lakhe elder. So ungifundisile marimba wathi wangipha ama notes, yeah.
Uthi ngaphuki akufunekanga ushaye kakhulu. Shaya nje kahle, sound nayo izophuma kahle. Le mallet le ngiphethe iyenzwe ngeplang laphansi bese la iraba. Nayi la inkuni. Qeda ngapha iraba ke. Mosha ngale raba iya bounce. Ayisheshi phuki. Mara moshaya ngento engana raba eqinile nje yona self. Iyamosha marimba futhi iyaluntuza iyayiphula.
Ha re khutla dipapatsong re tlo le bontsha mesebetsi a rohaneng ya maplanka all around us. E be re celebrate one of South Africa's most famous wood sculpting artists. Ebile hape re le bontsha re furniture maplanka yona by manufacturer jwang. All of this after the break. Go tswa go dipapadi go ya go diatse lo ya hape go mminong. Re bone how one of SA's legendary artists created some amazing sculptures made from maplanka. O kile wa ipotsa gore katara ba etsa jwang na? TOMz. Welcome back and thanks for sticking around, guys. Some awesome science and technology. More TOMz proudly brought to you by SABC Education.
Only here on SABC One Mzansi for sure. Seni as befits. So namhlanje sithola kabanzi about wood and the amazing things we as humans do with it. Also discovering why ihlahla sisidinga, and if we at some technologies that are used to create wood products.
So let's kalibala hape re na le our social session a little bit later on. So lo re wena o batla qoqa le rona while received comments on our Facebook and our Twitter pages. And shout out.
But before we do anything else, let's see what's coming up next.
Re got the different uses of wood in today's world. Design Unlimited we and celebrate one of SA's legendary wood sculpturing artist, Lerona.
Wood has been used as a fuel source ever since umuntu waqala ukufunda ukucontrola nocreate umlilo. Despite the number of other sources esisebenzisa namhlanje, it still stays common. What else can we do with wood in today's life?
Wood is a popular material esebenziswang in many artworks. Hutwa sculptures, lead statue to relief carvings and decorative objects. Wood is also used to make various musical instruments, such as the piano, the violin, drums, flutes, and guitars. The papadi that include equipment planking, and you'll find such equipment in cricket, hockey, and table tennis, to name a few. Wood is also popular in furniture making and flooring as it looks sophisticated and acts as a great insulator. Pele go ba le the invention of plastiki, but ba bangata ne ba sebedisa wooden dishes and utensils, and they're still popular le kajeko lena. You will also find wood in the shipbuilding and construction industry. Just about all ships and boats were built from wood up until the 19th century. Batla bona gore furniture ya maplanka mona molaheng ya rona ba manufacturer ka tsela tse feng. So rona la ra kgetha re tsame ro tshakela batho ba go Design Unlimited go ithuta gore this process yona is sebetsa jwang.
Kona manje asame tsothola kabanzi ukuthi how do they actually do their thing?
Hello, I'm Murray Kuun, owner, designer at Designs Unlimited. We are here today to see part of the process of how a guitar is made. I design the guitar on computer and then I print them out like this. And when I'm ready and I've decided that I'm going to make whichever guitar, I would, you see in this case here, I've cut out the template out of paper select what wood I'm going to use for this particular guitar. This is an electric guitar, and I use that paper as a template to cut it on the bandsaw, and then I refine it on the sanding machine. It's done in a few stages. You can see there's one piece of wood, in this case it's jacaranda, and on top it's kiat. This is a bandsaw, and that I do the rough cutting of the shape of the guitars on that. And that's all done freehand. So I follow lines. Then we're going to refine that again because it's pretty rough, and we're going to use the sanding machines for that. We're going to refine that cut that we did on that bandsaw with the two sanding machines for sanding straight lines and outside curves. This is how it's done. And I can do from there to there on this machine as well. Inside curves I'm going to do here. Once I've made the bodies, then I've got to get on to making the necks. Here's a neck that's partially shaped. I've done quite a lot of work on it already. In this case, it's going to have a sapele mahogany neck, and in this case it's imboya, which is unusual again, but it's got some nice textures and color variation. Right, this is part of the refining process of shaping the neck. At this stage I've got the shape more or less like I want it. Now I'm just refining the shape, making sure that it's nice and symmetrical, which I do with shadows. So I look at the shadow that straight edge casts on there, and I can see that it's symmetrical. Once it's symmetrical, I then set around making it smooth. And this is part of the process. Once I'm happy with the basic neck, I've already got my fingerboard made, or the fretboard as some people call it. In this particular case, both the necks would be the same size. I've got another neck here that's already got a fingerboard on it and frets, so it will go in there, just like that. This then, when the process is far enough, will be glued into place. Inside, on the first piece of wood, I've got to put some grooves in, which you don't see because they run underneath, and that's where the wires from the pickups run into this area, which is where the electronics goes. This guitar is about 3 years old, and it's a complete guitar. As you can see, the design is similar to this one, and the neck is glued into place. All the covers are on the back. This is the back covers of the pickups. These pickups are handmade in the UK. This is handmade in America. And the electronics are in there. This is bird's eye maple, and you can see it's got a particular sort of a reddish glow to it, and then around the sides it's got what they call a burst, and this is what I call an African sunset burst. Most people prefer the natural color, but I like to mix and match.
Maplanka sebedisa ke di-artist mo lefatsheng lena la rona gore bona ba kgone create some amazing artworks. Ebile South Africa ena e motlotlo hampe gore e kgone ba le haela one such legend. E ka ba la ditsebana di-legend tsa lona. Well, let's go and find out.
No, I don't know many South African artists who work with wood.
Any South African artist? I think it's Jackson Hlongwane.
uJackson Hlongwane wazalwa eGazankulu ngo-1923. At a young age waqala ukusebenza emine kodwa walahlekelwa iminwe yakhe in an accident. It was during this time that he dedicated himself to sculpture, with wood being his favorite medium. Umsebenzi wakhe uhlanganise a long tradition of African sculpture and incorporated a fusion of Shangaan symbolism and religious motifs. His subject matters ranged from spoons, sticks and bowls to altars, thrones and monumental fish, as well as religious figures namapubes. Kusukela ngo-1995, an entire room at Johannesburg Art Gallery has been dedicated to umsebenzi wakhe, and in 2005, the Department of Arts and Culture declared him a living legend. UJackson Hlongwane washona ngo-2010 ngoJanuwari and will forever be a South African legend in the arts.
But since we are on our social network, so leave us a comment or say hi on Facebook or on Twitter or even on both, and if we might just be chatting to you. But right now, Sabuya.
During ancient times, we share some cool DIY woodworking applications with you guys and get some cool career advice from Bachaki Barna Bakacheku.
Sweet about 15, you guys are still tuned in to TOMz, Konalago SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Your first science and tech show brought to you by the SABC Education.
Beke engwe engwe rata ho ithuta hore baswa South Africa bona ba etsa eng. Ebile ka tjoklena re batla ithuta all about the science and technology ya maplanka. Re batla bona hore maplanka na a etsewa jwang le rona re manipulate jwang maplanka to create some awesome stuff.
So sabe sithola kabanzi about the importance of trees. Sibona ukuthi how different wood products are actually made la eMzansi, and iphinde futhi sibhiyozele the use of wood in our day-to-day life.
Lopuleng hape re tla our social session is segale. So ile re wena ha o so send your shout out mathalang le ko Facebook ya rona, le ko Twitter ya rona, and do it.
Khona manje asiboneni ukuthi what do we have for you guys up next.
Re thuta hore the ancient ancestors tsa rona ne di sebedisa maplanka ka tsela tse feng thousands of years ago, and get the coolest woodworking applications for cell phone ya hao. The history of woodworking can be traced back to primitive times. Mo ileng hore di-tribe tsa kgale ne di nka maplanka ba etsa the instrument for practical purposes. Hona jwale a re tsamaye re kgutlele morao re kgone ho ithuta hore maplanka ba ne ba sebedisetsa eng se kana back then.
Most of the early woodworking tools were used for survival, including hunting gear and shelters. Flint tools were used to carve. Since Neolithic times, carved wooden vessels, zayenzwa, and during the Bronze Age, ihlahla were worked into coffins and wooden chairs were also created. During early civilization, the craft of woodworking was employed by the ancient Egyptians and Chinese civilizations. Most of the early Egyptian woodworking forms were preserved in furniture and drawings, and not only did they invent the art of veneering, kodwa basebenzisa ama-varnishes. Ama-China bewaziwa for their tables, flower pots, and furniture pieces, zonke ziyenzwe from wood.
As woodwork developed throughout iminyaka, many skills and practices were improved. Namhlanje we've got carpentry, parquetry, wood carving, and cabinetry.
Tshimologo ya ka ke rile di a remiwa ka dikutwana tse di nyane go yeng ka gore ke base or ke piccolo re 10 di apewe di ntshiwe morago di be mo letsatsing, then di phunwe diphatla tse di leditswe for tuning, and then any note go tlo latela gore e lla jwang. The way e llang ka teng go yeng ka tsebe ya ka ke tlebe ke tseba gore note ye go yeng ko piano, go yeng ko katareng, go yeng anywhere mo instrumenteng, note eo ke tlo letsa like ke letsa ga ke letsa so ke ya ko piano, which means ko piano ke tlo kira note le A, which means ko kiteng ke tlo mo kira the way. That's the way re tunang ka the music. Then di vanishiwe, di kopantshiwe go latelang ka di note. Wa utlwa gore note e tshwanetse be e ka tshameka mo kae ka ke le mapadi wa katara ke a tseba ke tswa ko sekolong sa Funda Center ke rutile go tuna music.
I-sound bawushaya umarimba unembobo la, so i-sound bawushaya like la iphuma la.
Kunye singakuyenza ukuthi unganethwa imvula, ngashaywa ilanga, ya futhi ni zingashaywa ngamanye ama-instrument like inkuni straight zona self azishawa ngazo inkuni nama-mallets wakhona.
Ngabe ungathanda ukuyenza woodworking your hobby noma mhlamba ufuna ukuzama ubone if you have the skills for it, then why not get a DIY app on your smartphone? I-Design Dimensions App Pro i-Android app ongayidownloada mahala kwi-smartphone yakho. Futhi there are hundreds of structures ongakhetha kubona uzenzele ngokwakho, and uzothola ama-wooden objects ahlukile futhi ingakutshela ukuthi uzodinga ini to make it yourself. Maybe una iPad noma i-iPhone, the Art of Wood app izokunceda uqala ukufunda i-carpentry. Inama-section ahlukile including furniture, implements, iminyango namafastela, and lots of text and video tutorials. For more info, vakashela ku www.tomz.co.za and check out the links.
Bang, bang, bang! What's up? What's going on, Bafethu? Welcome to it. This is Social Session where sikhuluma nani via our Facebook and Twitter account. Opening our Facebook page, we've got our first comment, Tuli, who wants to send a shout out to all her friends who are watching TOMZ.
I have Utandiwe on Twitter saying she doesn't want to sound stupid, but can somebody explain about the greenhouse effect and what do trees have to do with them?
Okay, Tani, the greenhouse effect is our planet's natural way of warming up our Earth's surface. So what happens is the rays of the sun hit our atmosphere and are reflected back into space and back into Earth where they are absorbed by our atmosphere. And it warms up the planet ganjalo. Lento le sibiza greenhouse gases, and this keeps life growing on Earth.
Since abantu baqale mass production of products with factories burning fossil fuels like coal and oil, the amount of greenhouse gases has increased in the atmosphere, causing all sorts of problems, and carbon dioxide is one of these gases. Ihlahla zona are great because they absorb all this carbon dioxide.
Yeah, but we need to take care of our forest. We need to plant the same amount of trees that we take out of the ground.
Yes, and on that note, asibuzeni our guest on today's show to give us some tips and advice for the future.
Check that out.
It's a career not for the faint-hearted. It requires an enormous amount of patience to learn the skill and a deep passion for music more than anything. Not so much for the equipment, but for music. If you don't have that passion, it's not going to happen. You can make copies of guitars, but you'll never design a guitar from the scratch and build a guitar that no one's ever built before. That just requires enormous passion.
For more information, Bafethu seniors, go into www.tomz.co.za. And before Samba Stisha Malites, on today's episode is Giddy.
We started off by sharing some interesting facts about Difate with all our TOMz fans. Kunale more than 20,000 tree species mo planet ya rona. Re tshaketse a marimba class. We looked at all the many different uses of wood. Ebile hape re tshaketse Designs Unlimited. We ithuta gore maplanka ka o etsa jwang ka tara. Re celebrated the late Jackson Hlongwane, one of SA's legends in wood sculpturing. Re ithutile gore the ancient ancestors tsa rona ba ne ba sebedisa jwang maplanka, which is some cool woodworking DIY applications le lona. Re fumane some awesome career advice from our experts on today's show. For more information, go to www.tomz.co.za and remember to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter for all your TOMz updates. Tune in next time to tweet more about South Africa's technology and science trends on South Africa.
Until next time, Mzansi, take care.
Next time, more TOMz. The science of books. Find out what your handwriting can say about you. Catch TOMz every Monday and Tuesday at 4 o'clock on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure.